Everybody, welcome to the fall edition of Taste of the Kawarthas. Today we are going to take you on a farm tour of Three Forks Farm and Bobcaygeon Farmers Market. From those two visits, we are bringing back some of the things we relate to in the fall. I have got kale, fennel, an apple, pork loin. I've got fresh garlic, fresh onions. We're going to make a pork roulade with a really nice fall filling. Let's get started on the filling. First, you're going to put in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. To the 2 teaspoons of unsalted butter. To that butter, add 1 medium diced onion. This onion is from Martin's Farm at the Bobcaygeon Farmers Market. Give it a chance to start getting translucent. The next thing you're going to add is 1 diced fennel bulb. This fennel bulb is from Deer Bay Farms at the farmer's market. You want to get it fine. You can see that this is very finely diced. Do that because we're putting this as a filling and you don't want anything coarse or chunky in the filling when you go to roll the roulade. We're going to add in the fennel bulb. It looks like a lot, and it is. It will cook down. So then we're going to give this a few minutes, about 4 minutes, to start cooking down. To the sauteing onions and fennel, I want you to add a half teaspoon of kosher salt and some pepper, and then just cook that down. While that's cooking down, we're going to go over and prepare some garlic and some herbs. All right, that's enough salt and pepper. We will stir that up. It's starting to really get softened and break down, and that's what we're looking for. While that's cooking, let's start the garlic and the apples. You're going to be putting in rosemary, thyme, and 1 diced apple. So I cut the apple in quarters. You don't have to take the peeling off. I'm one of those people that doesn't take peelings off. So if you want, you can leave the peeling on. It'll give you a little bit more structure. And about 4 cloves of garlic. And you see that I started to dice it already. This is fresh garlic from the farmer's market. And it is very, very fresh and sweet. It's a little bit sticky even. That's how fresh it is. So we're going to chop this as fine as we can. We're just finishing up, dicing up this 1 apple. You can see I left the peeling on, and we're going to add that right to our fennel and onions in this pan. Nice, it's really mixing nice. It's starting to brown a bit, which is great. Now we're going to add the 4 cloves of garlic into the pan. And we're going to add the entire apple. This has to cook down about 6 to 8 minutes so that the apple starts to cook and gets a little bit soft and blends in with everything else that's in this mix. We're going to add some rosemary and thyme. This is fresh thyme right from my garden. So this is the kind of dish that you may want to make when the nights are getting a little bit colder and the sky's getting a little darker and you feel like putting your oven on and roasting something. This is all the delicious harvest, the things that the farmers are bringing into the farmers markets and into their fields. You can't go wrong with all of these fall flavors. If you look at my board, you'll see I've got everything that's fall here. So the kale goes in after we cook down the apples. So I'm putting in the thyme. I'm just stripping it from the stalk. That's as fresh as that's going to get. And then I'm going to put in some rosemary. The rosemary, though, I don't put in entirely. I'll break some up and then I'll dice it. All right, we're going to cut up this fresh rosemary and get that in the pan. You could put in a little bit of sage if your family likes that. I like to hold off for sage when Thanksgiving is starting to happen. So I like sage, but I wait. All right, this is cooking really nicely. The scent coming out of this is divine. I can smell the fennel, I can smell the rosemary and the garlic starting to all mix. The apple's just going to cook down and make a really nice sauce. All right, this is looking good. We're going to let that all cook just a bit, let all of those flavors marry together, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish it. All right, the apple is starting to cook down. Everything's getting browned, it's caramelizing. Now we're going to add in, we're going to reduce all of this with a 1/4 cup of white wine. It's not a lot, it is just the reduction of all of the ingredients together to make a nice filling. Okay, we're going to cook that a little bit, and then we're going to add the kale. So let's just cook this for a few minutes, and then we're going to be adding our kale. Now we're going to add the kale. This is 6 to 8 ounces of frozen kale. So I cut this kale yesterday from my garden, and I froze it. Now that seems a little bit of a strange thing to do, but what you want is the kale to be softened. So I removed it from the spine, I put it in a freezer safe bag, and I put it overnight. What you got the next morning is this softened kale. You could blanch it or you could freeze it. I choose to freeze it, it's a little less work. So now that 6 to 8 ounces is in this mixture, and I'm going to stir that in. This adds great color, it adds great flavor, nutritious, and not everybody likes to eat kale, but this is a way that kale is going to be yummy. It's going to add a nice texture to this, and look at the color, it's beautiful. All right, the kale was softened from the freezing process, which is great. We're going to cook it down just a few minutes to make sure that the kale is happy in that filling. And we're going to remove it from the heat, and then we're going to add in lemon zest and lemon juice. Remove it from the heat, and we're going to put some lemon juice in it. I think I'm going to zest 2 lemons. Now this is going to smell good when this hits this. This is just going to make it bright. Going to make that citrusy flavor. It's going to make everything come alive. All right, there's 1 lemon. Just smell that. That's made that kale really smell great too. And then I'm going to put in some zest. Remember, when you are zesting, stay away from the white pith. You just want the zest. So zest an entire lemon. And then we will squeeze this one, juice this one into it. So that's 2 lemons, but only the juice from 2, only the zest from 1. All right, we're going to stir that up. Smell that. Okay, the lemon has changed it entirely. Nice, very nice. All right, the filling is ready to go. We're going to let that sit and cool down a bit. We're going to now butterfly the roulade, the pork loin from Three Forks Farm, and we're going to come back and we're going to fill that. So you saw a bit about the Bobcaygeon Farmers Market. There you saw Alicia, because she's also at that farmers market. Alicia and Jared Chinnock are co-owners and co-operators of a Three Forks Farm on Colony Road here in Bobcaygeon. We're at Three Forks Farm today. We're going to be taken on a tour of this farm with Alicia. So we noticed that when we were coming up the laneway, it's a beautiful canopy. And when I first met Jared, the thing he said that's what sold him on the farm.
The laneway was definitely something special because you kind of came in and it was this private portal. We'd been looking at a lot of different farms and they were often on busy highways, or it was just a hayfield that was being severed off. And this place just had a lot of character. It had forest, it had some old maple trees, it had open pastures, so it just kind of it ticked a lot of boxes.
Because this isn't just a farm where you're making an income, this is a farm where you're raising your family too.
Yeah, we moved here with an infant, like a 4-month-old infant. So admittedly, my first observation of the farm was very sleep deprived.
At the pig, what do you call it, a pig pen?
Well, yeah, pig yards.
Pig yard is,
Yeah.
you know, that's, and here we are, we have large pigs.
So these ladies here, as you can probably see, are ready to have babies within the next few days. Just careful of the fence. It is electrified. You will get a zap. So that is how we run our pig system, is all on single strand electric fence. That's all it takes. Pigs don't like getting shocked. So a gilt is a first time pig, so she has never had piglets yet. Once she has farrowed out her piglets, she will be called a sow, which the rest of these girls here are all sows.
So what exactly are they rooting for?
They were fed breakfast in random piles, and they will root out every single grain from the mud. And I try and dump it in not super muddy spots. I've tried all kinds of feeders.
And this is what they prefer.
And this is just the system.
Okay, so let's say this one back here goes into labor. How do you know?
So usually in the 24-hour mark, they will get milk. So I would be able to get a few drops of milk from her udder. And that gives me the 24-hour. Some of our pigs will also nest, which means they'll actually make a bed and prepare. Others just go and lay down and have their piglets. So
when they're producing piglets, they're not going to be considered as to be processed for meat.
that's right.
When they're done, like you had one that it was her last litter, is that when you then retire her from producing?
Depending on the age of the animal, every pig gets 2 litters, so they don't always get their first litter right. Instincts maybe haven't kicked in. So this girl here, if she doesn't have a very good first litter, I'll still keep her and breed her a second time. If she fails twice, then she'll go to butcher.
Okay.
An animal, this is Red here, and Red is 5.5 years old. She's had 9 litters on the farm. So when she's retired, Red won't go to meat processing. Red will be buried here on the farm. So these are all sows, and they have all had their piglets. We'll go see their piglets in a few minutes. So they had piglets in late August or early September, and we have just weaned the piglets.
I see. Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful one. I mean, that's an actually beautiful pig.
The spotted one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so her name's Dolly. She's named after Dolly Parton. Because she's a pretty pig.
She's a pretty pig.
Yeah, so Dolly is actually Red's sister. They are both 5.5, and this is Lulu. That's their mom, and she's 6.5.
And what breed of pig is this?
So these are a mixed variety. Lulu we started with, she's a Hampshire Duroc cross, and we bred her to a Berkshire, so that's what you see in this spotted. So Dolly and Red are half Berkshire, Duroc, Hampshire, and then you can see this is our boar over here. His name's Chuck Boris. So these girls are going to start to come into heat in the next few days, so he's going to patrol this fence and really want to get
mate.
in with the ladies. He's not allowed until December because I don't want piglets before March.
I see. So you restrict him.
So yeah, we bought him from another farm as a piglet, and we raised him up with these other girls.
He's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like Charlotte. In that movie, he kind of looks like that pig.
So he's a Tamworth. He's purebred Tamworth. So we're mixing in Tamworth pigs to all the others. And this is him trying to see if anybody's interested in his affections. So these
Oh my God.
are all the piglets.
Okay, look, this is total cuteness. Look at them coming to us with hay on their head. Hi, everybody. Oh my God, they're cute. So this is where your BLT tastes great, but you may rethink it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really
You,
cute.
you get every kind of joke. Sometimes they're called, people will say, oh, look at all the bacon bits.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Now, these are male, female?
They're a mix. They're a mix. We always seem to end up with about 50% male and female.
That's fun.
We do castrate all of the males. It's the practice kind of on this side of the pond to castrate. In Europe, they're not doing it so much, but it just means you have to be processing your animals younger before they reach sexual maturity. Because the males will get something called boar taint, and it makes the meat taste bad because if the testosterone levels get too high. So castration day is not that fun, but it's a necessary.
Yeah, it's not that fun, but you do it because it makes the meat taste better, and then you just keep a few that you're going to use. So you sell at Bobcaygeon Farmers Market.
Yeah, so on our website we have a shop button, and that will direct you to our local line storefront, and that also has our chicken, pork, lamb, and then some of Merkaba's beef.
Okay.
And we also have Kawartha Lakes honey on there as well.
So that's at threeforksfarm.com.
.ca.
Yeah. So you also have a farm store on the homestead, so people can, if they're local, because there's a lot of people who just want food throughout the winter. Is your farm store open all winter?
No, you can still come to the farm. Just the farm store isn't insulated, and to conserve power, I shut down all the extra freezers and fridges in there. But you can still come to the farm and purchase out of the big freezers.
Okay, so and you would have chicken, lamb,
And pork.
pork. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being part of this today, and that takes us to the end of our video today. They produce pork, chicken, and sheep. And today we're using one of their pork loins. I've butterflied it and I've flattened it. We're going to add about half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using table salt. And just sprinkle it onto the butterflied roulade. This is a process that I didn't show you. It's not that difficult. You take the whole tenderloin, you slice it 1/3, fold it over, slice it the next third, fold it over. So you should have 3 trifolds of this pork loin. Be careful not to cut through the loin. It's very difficult, but just practice and you'll get it. We're going to add a little bit of pepper to the meat. What we're doing is adding this filling, and then we're going to roll it and roast it. Now, I'm going to add some of Three Forks Farm bacon on the top. We're going to this just adds a little bit of fat to the meat. You know that the pork loin is very lean, so we're going to add a little bit of this to it. I'm going to save some of the strips because I want to put it on the outside. All right, so we've got that in the middle, and then we're going to start putting the filling on top. It's still a little warm. I could have cooled it a bit more, but it's going directly into the oven. If you were going to roll this and leave it for a few hours before you put it into the oven, I would let the filling cool completely. So don't go right to the edges or you're going to have a little issue when you roll it. Now, if I have too much filling, easy enough to freeze this and use it on a chicken breast that you did the same process to, or another pork loin. You could even use this on a stuffed pepper. I'm putting quite a bit, and I see that I have some extra. I'm going to just keep it. I think that's enough. I don't want it to start falling out. And now I'm going to roll it. All right, we're rolling it. You notice that the fat side is up, and I've got my roasting pan prepared. So I want to take a couple strips of bacon, and that's how I'm sealing it. Some people might do a butcher block twine on it. I'm going to put some bacon. I think that it's going to give it some flavor. It's going to hold it together. You could put still put the string. I'm going to try and cook it without the string. And the last piece, and now very carefully, pick it up. All right, you notice that I'm cooking it on a rack. I would like the fat to drip down. I can use that fat to baste it, but I don't want my filling to get saturated with the fat. So we have that, and I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on the top to flavor it, a little bit of kosher salt this time. Kosher salt's a little bit lighter. And there you have it. $3.75, we're going to roast that. Now, if you'd like, you could tuck some apples around there. You could even take some of that filling and you could stuff it in an apple. All of those things are for your creative discretion. We're going to put this in the oven and we are going to roast it until it reaches an internal temperature of 140, and then we'll take it out, we'll let it rest. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you enjoyed the tour of Three Forks Farm. Until the next issue, keep cooking.